Hello, everyone. How you going this evening? Happy Monday. All of my technology this evening hopefully is working. Gosh, we've had some troubles this workshop with getting onto Facebook, which is really hard for us because that's how we love to communicate with everyone. So thank you so much for being patient and sticking with us on that. And I'm hoping that lots of you are joining now. There's Karen. Hello. Hopefully everyone's joining and you can hear and see me and that there are no technical issues tonight. Okay, so tonight is really about me answering your questions. And so I have a few questions here that I've taken down from questions that people have put in the comments. But I also have some questions that I commonly get asked about the gut microbiome and pain and inflammation and fatigue. So I'll go through those as well. But please feel free to pop a question up in the comments section. And if you haven't clicked on the link that asks for your name, I'd love you to do that so I can refer to you via your name. Otherwise, it just says Facebook user and it's a bit awkward for me. Okay, so hopefully everyone's jumping on now. Let me know that you're there. Tell me where you're calling in from and we'll get started. So some of you may have seen that I was up on top of Mount Coolum this morning and I did a little live from Mount Coolum, or a little video, and I was reflecting on a lot of people, when they join program, and I have a lot of conversations with people about what are their barriers to being able to find the health and wellness that they want. And so I want to go through some of the barriers that I see and some of the blocks that I see. And I also wanted to, talk to people about, why do we do this? Why do we do this to ourselves? So I want to discuss that. I also want to discuss kickoff dates and what that means, and realistic perceptions of ourselves looking after ourselves. So I want to talk about that too. Oh, here we go. Megan's here. Hey, Megan. And Jackie's here from Brisbane. Hey, Rhonda. How you going? Okay, so the first thing is I find it absolutely amazing, and it was certainly my story, which is why I can talk about this so freely and talk about it so much, is because I too was that person. We put up these incredible barriers to be able to get us out of the places that we're in. And so when, we talk to people about, what do you want? Do you want to be well? Do you want to find that optimal health and wellness? What's going on for you? And so when we ask people what's going on for you, what's happening, they're like, I just don't want to live in pain. I don't want to be inflamed. I remember one client saying to me, I've got a friend who gets up in the morning, she bounces out of bed, she goes and swims in the ocean, has a cuppa with her friends, and has all this energy to then be able to go home and get ready for work and work for a day. And this client of mine, that was what she wanted for herself. That was where she wanted to be. That was sort of where she was driving towards. And so she had that value of, wellness, and she had that value of socializing with her friends. She had that value of being full of energy and beans and jumping out of bed. She had that value of connecting with nature, being in the ocean, exercising and moving her body in nature. So she had all these values over here, these values sitting over here of what she wanted, and all these values of aspiring to that. But when we unpacked and had a look, what her actions were on a daily basis were just such a complete misalignment with what her values were. So someone who gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning, goes swimming in the ocean, goes to bed at 8 o'clock at night. Someone that has full of beans eats an early dinner the night before and then goes to bed. Someone who's full of beans eats food that nourishes their mitochondria, nourishes their body, and they really, really focus on, is this food going to serve me and support me, or is this food going to put me into a spiral? And so there's all these, differences between what are our values, but what are we actually doing on a daily basis? And I'd love you guys to reflect on that, because, all of us want the value of health, and all of us want the value of well-being, and all of us want the value of making sure that we've got longevity and we don't have brain fog, and, that we can be wonderful, parents or partner or sister or mother or father or grandparent or whatever our roles are in life. We want this for ourselves, but there's this big misalignment. And so part of your process of going through your healing journey is to really be able to just sit and reflect, what are my values? Is there a disconnect? And how do I get there? Now, our brain does some pretty awesome things at keeping us in survival mode and stopping us from actually making a change and moving towards our goals of where we want to be. Our brain has this system called the RAS system, and it's constantly looking for fear, for change. It's constantly looking for things that will be different, even though it will be better, even though it's going to get us where we want to go. Our brain perceives that as scary, as change, as fearful. And this RAS system within our brain is constantly looking to validate why we should stay in safety and why we shouldn't do that. And so part of this process of moving forward is laying down new neurological pathways of, well, this is what we do now. And as you lay down those new pathways and new neurons in the brain, then you become really able to start making new, brave, bold choices and laying down those new neural pathways. So for me, I'm very happy to be open about my food, my connection to food and my binge eating, which was really bad. And so I just could not see a way out of, binge eating packets of chips and shortbread biscuits late at night. And, I wanted to be the person that got up and had all the energy and beans and wasn't in pain. But, I was also at nighttime the person that was eating a whole packet of shortbreads or was, eating packets of chips and so forth. And so it's really interesting to see that disconnect. But slowly but surely, I was able to tell my body and my brain, yes, that food gives you an instant high. Yes, that food gives you instant energy, but it's actually not going to help you reach your values and your goals. So today, let's make one change, one small change, and make a step to be able to lay down a new neurological pathway of a new behavior, a new change. And it takes time and it's hard, and you need crew around you and have hiccups but you get there in the end. I mean, the thought now for me to eat, I can't believe a whole pack of gluten-free shortbreads, like a lot of food. The thought of me doing that now, I just, oh my gosh, how could I have done that to myself? But that's why I understand where people come from and what their barriers are, because our bodies are designed to keep us safe, keep us really small, and make sure that we don't do anything that's too scary, and not really go out too far past that system in our brain that protects us. And so we've got to override that system to get to where we need to go. And you can do that. And so, yes, you will have heaps of barriers. You'll have barriers like, what about my cravings? What about the fact that I literally need to drink alcohol every day? Otherwise, I can't regulate my emotions. I go off at my kids. I can't relax. I'm anxious. And what do I do if I can't have alcohol? What do I do if I go to a wedding and I'm feeling really socially anxious and I'm nervous and uncomfortable? I must have alcohol. Or like me, I was absolutely reliant on the high of food. I used food to stay functional because I was so tired and so unwell. And so being able, like the fear of like, hang on a minute, if you take away all of those crutches that I use on a daily basis to stay functional and pretend to the world that I'm okay, because of course I was really good at that too. If I take all those crutches away, what happens? I mean, who will I be? Will I be okay? What happens? What do I do? And these are all really scary things to face. And it's really important that we talk about it and that we honor them as really scary emotions that everyone has. And we see it all the time. And every single person on program has what I call a hiccup. Every single person on program will end up falling back into old patterns. And that's great. We learn from that. No one does program perfectly. No one heals perfectly, whether it's the culture wellness program or whatever you're doing. No one goes through this journey perfectly. There will be, failures. You will never do it perfectly, but showing up every day and doing the best you can is the most awesome thing to do. And so we expect all of these things, and we've all been there and we've all done it. So I really want to encourage you to, really understand that it's about the learning and it's about addressing the why and what are my crutches and what are my traumas and what am I trying to understand here about myself and what am I really not looking at within myself? What are my blocks and my barriers? Why am I telling myself constantly that I can't? Why not just try? I can and I will. So, Megan eats big time emotional eating, and lots of it. And there is not, unfortunately, I don't see many people these days that don't use emotional eating, emotional drinking, emotional fasting. So lots of people use fasting to, in the same respects. We've all got these crutches and we've all got these little safety mechanisms that we use to get through the day. And a lot of them aren't aligned with who we want to be, but we've learnt them either in childhood or as we've grown up, and we've kept them there. And so this is the cool thing about the brain. We can change that. We can change those pathways so you can make better choices. For me, having a choice of having an Epsom salt bath or doing a sauna or a coffee enema versus, going out and going crazy with my friends or going out and going for a big, hard run and really trashing myself. Now I can really make great choices around that. There's days when I want to go out and lift heavy and go for a massive run. And there's days I just need to have an Epsom salt bath. And all of that's fine. So yeah, let me have a look at, so Cassandra said, my biggest barrier is fatigue. Even the idea of changing is exhausting. So Cassandra, I couldn't agree with you more. It takes so much energy for the brain to lay down new neural pathways. So when we've already got mitochondrial dysfunction, we're already tired, we're already just absolutely fatigued and at our wits' end, and we've got many, many things that we are expected to micromanage and to address and keep up with. And then the thought of doing something new is almost too much. But we've got to kind of make that first step, because we know that on the other side of doing something that's going to get you more energy, you will eventually get there. But it's about making those tiny steps that lay down that new pathway. So you won't instantly get energy back, but one step by one step, and that you'll get there. So Kate's here and Misha's here. And yeah, Karen, you're absolutely right. It's about that mindset. It's about feeling safe to make those changes, feeling safe to be able to talk about your barriers and address those barriers and feel safe that you can go to a new place and embrace whatever will happen, because you're never going to improve staying as is. We've got to move forward. Okay, let's have a look here. What else is everyone saying? Karen, I didn't get any wine when I went shopping for food on Friday. Go you, Karen. See, that's just one small step. And I just love that, because now you can say to yourself, oh yeah, I can go shopping on Fridays and not get wine. So you've already laid down a new pathway in your brain to tell yourself, I went shopping and I didn't get wine and it was successful and I was okay. So suddenly your brain starts to feel safe. Suddenly your brain goes, yeah, no, I can do that. I've done that before. I can absolutely do that. I don't need to worry. Can I do it? Because I've already done it. So it's really, really cool. Okay. All righty. Yes, Karen, such baby steps. All right. So, it's really great to sit down and journal. What are my values? What do I want for myself? And how do I slowly start to align my values with my daily habits? And you'll see a big disconnect there. And then the next thing is, what are my barriers? Am I scared of failure? Am I scared of change? Am I scared of the unknown? Am I fearful? What if it doesn't work? What if I do the wrong thing? What if I stuff up? Am I so fearful of the failure that I'm too scared to embark on a change? And all of us are, and you just got to jump and take that baby step. And we'll all fail at some point. I fail all the time, but I love it, because now I've laid down pathways in my brain and I see failure as a blessing, because I see failure as a way to learn. And so even with all the drama that's happened with our Facebook lives over this workshop, which has been horrible for me, I always see it. What happened? What do I need to tick off? What do I need to improve? Was there a system that needed to be upgraded or changed? What's the learning lesson in this? How can I take benefit from this? Okay, so there's a great question here about, can we do keto diet without getting the stool test done? Yes, you absolutely can. You can do, you can do a nutritional ketogenic diet at any time, and you don't need to get your stool test done. So no, you can start and get going. Okay, so Cassandra, food is a huge barrier. I started off being okay with cooking them, but then some nights I'm too tired and want something quick. I need easy ideas for meals to take the mental load off of having to think of what I need. I need a system for myself. Yes, you do. So, that's the wonderful thing, Cassandra, sorry, my accent, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. We didn't check in our discovery call, but that's the wonderful thing about the program. We teach you how to bulk cook. We teach you about how to prepare a meal plan. We teach you about, when you're exhausted, what to do and how to make sure that you have systems in place to be able to manage that. So it's a very, very big part of the program. So you're in safe hands there, because it's a barrier that we see all the time. Okay. Megan, yes, good. I'm glad you don't know. I certainly know that there's hiccups. Okay. So can vegetarians do that as well as non-vegetarians? Yes. So when we work with vegetarians on a ketogenic diet, we are really keen on making sure that when you're working with us, you're comfortable to have eggs, you're comfortable to have bone broth, so whether that's a fish broth or a vegetable broth, or even possibly a chicken broth that is either powdered or in a concentrate. And we just want to make sure that maybe you might even be open to collagen or gelatin. So our plan on the program is to heal your gut. And you can't heal your gut without the appropriate amounts of, building block amino acids like glycine and proline, zinc from, your protein, B6, all of these important nutrients that you need for your gut that come from protein. And so there are ways that we support vegetarians to be able to combat that, but we really encourage to be comfortable with eggs and be comfortable with fish and be comfortable with some forms of broths and possibly collagen. And then, we can make it happen. We can certainly do that. Alrighty. So the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about when we're talking about being nervous about trying something new and will I fail and how will I go? And, I know that a lot of people that have gut problems are the type A personalities. So they are the ones that are the perfectionists. They are the ones that are very, very scared of failure. And they are the ones that want everything to be absolutely right. So I'd love you to write a comment there or do a little thumbs up or a little emoji and let me know, are you that person? Because of course you are. Because we know that the connection between the gut and the brain and the gut and mental health is super, 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 super clear. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the gut, mental health, gut-brain connection, when we are stressed, we're type A, we have high expectations, we, can't go with the flow, we're perfectionists. When we have that type of personality, our whole body is in a state of fight or flight. When we're elevated, when we're in that state of fight or flight, it puts quite a lot of traumatic stress on our gut, which means we can't digest our food, which means we end up with leaky gut and gut imbalances. So I see this huge correlation between type A, perfectionist people who are amazing and they've got the best superpowers, but they're amazing with these superpowers, but they're always the ones that have the gut issues, like me. And so, your nervous system has just had enough. And all of that, high stress response, stress job, stress this, stress everything, means that you've flipped off that switch of rest and digest and supporting your gut microbiome. So of course, we're going to have barriers with regards to coming onto a program that puts all of our fears in front of us about being flexible and going with the flow. And, what does your body want to say? What will happen? And when we have people join the program and I'm working with them one-on-one and they're like, okay, well, what date will I do this? And when will I introduce that? And by week 3, will I be able to have these specific foods? And when I say to them, well, we need to see what your body is doing. We need to see how your body's healing. I mean, that's just about the worst thing that you could ever tell someone who needs order and structure and needs to do it right and get it perfect. It's horrible to have that, answer. It's unnerving. It completely shakes you to the core and it increases your stress response. But that's exactly what needs to happen for you to heal. But we guide you through that and we help you through that, especially when you work with me in the one-on-one space. We're always talking about it. So it's, there's a big correlation there. So if you are that person, you have got gut problems and that's fine because there's only this information coming out now about that kind of personality and gut dysbiosis and a stress gut and the fact that this is your opportunity to address that and where's this coming from so you can heal and get better. Okay, so Cassandra's saying, yes, that's me. That's why I'm having trouble choosing a program. I want to go all in for my nature, but leaning towards Kickstarter and testing. Also a way of making myself take it slow. Yeah, absolutely. So, we'll block ourselves at every turn. And then Megan saying, I'm relating. How can I start when I have holidays plans? What do I eat then? Yes, Megan, we come up with every excuse under the sun. So people ask me all the time, like what you said, Megan, I've got holidays and then it's Christmas and then what am I going to do? And then what I'm going to do. It does not matter. First of all, we work on those things on, when we're on program and we talk about it, and you have new tools to go on holidays and not have constipation, binge eat, have emotional turmoil, be in bed for 3 days, have chronic diarrhea, have constipation, have headaches, break out into a rash, all those things that happen when we go on holidays or it's Christmas. We give you tools to be able to help you with that. And we also just work out a plan together. And so it might be that you pause program. It might be that you have a few different things that happen. So there's to help you through that Christmas week. There's all sorts of things. I mean, I've got a whole cooking class called Confidence in the Kitchen Christmas. And so there's a whole cooking class that'll be coming out soon for Christmas. It's 8 weeks of how to make a trifle, how to make a pudding, how to make a custard, how to make a turkey, how to make sides, how to make Christmas biscuits, you name it. I've covered it all. So you guys have tools to be able to go through these adventures. So we don't say, no, I can't start. And Megan, I'm looking at you. We don't say, no, I can't start because of. We just say, yes, I can start, but I need to learn tools about when I go on holidays. Yes, I can start, but I need to learn some tools about what happens at Christmas time. And I've written all these programs and all these recipes, and I've done all these things because I was the type A person that had to face all of these new things through a new lens of healing and through a new lens of I want to be able to get to those values. So I've been there and I've created all of these tools. So let's stop with the barriers. That's very important. I see some of your questions coming up, so don't worry, I'll get back to them. I just wanted to get to the last point, which I talked about today in the video, was about kickoff date. The other barrier that people often come to me with, or they sort of reflect on it and tell us later, the reason why I didn't start the program was I was just so scared that I just had to start and I didn't know what to do and I was so overwhelmed just starting. And so I just really want to allay your fears, and Gabby and I'll talk about it when we do the programs live on Wednesday night, where we literally actually just go through the nitty-gritty of what's included, what's happened, the hows and the whens and the whys of the program. But I just want you all to know that when you sign up for a Culture Wellness program, or when you just tell yourself, I am going to make a change and I'm going to connect my daily habits to who I want to be in my values. When you make that decision, you don't instantly have to know what to do. You're not instantly expected to know how to cook, what to cook. You're not instantly expected to be able to know where to shop for your meat, what's the best market for that. And then, you're not instantly supposed to know these things. That's what you learn on program. So when you join the program, you take your time. So you have lifetime access to the programs, especially in the online programs, and you collect your information. You make your plans and you work towards a kickoff date. And that is when you start the program. And so you don't turn up to your first consult expected to have completely cleaned out your pantry, rearranged your whole life, learned 6 months of a program and then know what to do so you can impress me when you turn up to your consult or when you open your first module, because that's not the point. The point is you just get started and then we're here to guide you and help you. So don't expect that, if I press the button and if I join a program, then I'm supposed to know exactly what to do instantly and I start this week. It's not what happens. So, be okay with that. Now, someone has just asked about a link to the cooking class, and I wonder, whoever just asked that, did you want the link to the Christmas one, or did you want a link to the other ones? Just let us know. because the Christmas one isn't quite out yet. So, stay tuned. We will get the Christmas one out. Okay, so Juliet, do you recommend being in a state of ketosis all the time, or is it better to cycle in and out? Is it a matter of trial and error to see what works best for each individual? Another question, I am interested in doing some of your cooking programs and also interested in getting both the Microbiome and Dutch test done. Do you have a package bundle for this combination? Yes, Juliet. We have package bundles at the moment because of the workshop. We have lots going on, which is really, really cool. So Nicole is, I believe, on tonight, and she will be able to send you some links of the packaged programs. And it depends. So you can get your Dutch test done, you can get your Microbiome test done, and you can have a look at the cooking classes. So follow those links for all of the different bundles. But to answer your question right at the top there, it does depend individually, and we can help you to answer this question. So for the first sort of 8 weeks on program, we absolutely want everyone in ketosis full time. We want to know what their body's doing. We want to take off the inflammation, and we want the body just to settle and just, not be in a state of alarm and inflammation. So you will be in ketosis for quite some time to start with. And then we work out from there, how does your body respond, spending some time out of ketosis and some time in, so a cyclical ketogenic diet. Now, if you have chronic pain, if you have cognitive issues, if you have significant bowel issues or history, then you will probably want to be in ketosis for a lot longer, and then start, say, 6 to 8 months, and then start dabbling with having some more rice, having some more carbohydrates like cooked and cooled rice, and seeing how it goes. But the most important thing there, Juliet, is that you want to be able to bring your body into a baseline long enough to feel balance. So long enough to have great cognitive awareness, you're sleeping well, you're not inflamed, your body's digesting well, your immune system's doing well, like everything's humming along. You want to get your body into that state and being in ketosis. So then you actually know the difference between, oh, that didn't work. I don't feel so good. I've got brain fog again. I'm going to get back into ketosis again. Or, wow, my pain has flared up again, or I'm really inflamed in my ankles or my big toe, whatever it is. And, that's interesting because I've gone out of ketosis and then that's happened. So you really, really want to get your body into that, humming state of feeling really good. So then when you go out, you can actually see the difference. So, but the end game is that we really end game is get to cyclical ketosis, where you're utilizing the tools of being in ketosis for, an anti-inflammatory response, cognitive awareness, really, really great, energy levels for the body, all the cool things that we love about ketosis. And you want to get to the point you can use that, but then you can fuel up on your glycogen stores and so forth and be out of ketosis. And that in the end is called metabolic flexibility. So that's where we want to get to. Okay, Bozana has been on a low FODMAP diet and elemental diet. I hated both because of the feeling like I'm depriving myself. Yes, I remember that feeling on low FODMAP. It was horrible. I was so skinny and so undernourished. I had no muscle mass on me. I'm 5'11". I'm about 175, 76 centimeters. And I was, for my height, I was very underweight and had no muscle mass. I couldn't build muscle capacity or anything and train properly for my sports when I was on the low FODMAP diet. It was quite concerning. So a low FODMAP diet really is a initial diet that you use to bring down the pain, bring down the inflammation, to be able to get your body to a point where you're starting to feel okay. So then you can start working on a treatment plan. It is not a long-term diet. So great question. I feel like going on a ketogenic diet might bring up similar feelings. From my own experience, Absolutely not. So I've been able to manage and be very happy and very comfortable and very well nourished on a ketogenic diet for over 10 years now. It's uh, probably 12, closer to 12 years when I first started. And I'm, very nourished and do all of my sports and my races and everything. It's about understanding the ketogenic diet, getting enough caloric intake, using fat as your full fuel source. And you absolutely don't feel undernourished. You don't feel deprived. If anything, I actually struggle to um, get enough food in a day sometimes, because being in ketosis, you don't crave, you don't think about food all the time. Your mind's on stuff you love to do, like work, or for me, doing these talks, or chatting with clients, or coaching my daughter's netball team. All of these things, your mind goes back to doing cool stuff rather than thinking about food and being nutrient deprived, because you're in starvation mode and in survival mode like that. So don't worry about that. If you do have feelings of deprivation, it means we need to tweak it and get it right and tailor it just for you. So it's a great question though. Alrighty. Now we've got some links going up, so I hope that helps. Alrighty. Sorry, I'm just going through your questions. Yes. Oh, there's some great answers there. So I reckon Gabby's on here, or maybe Nicole's on here. So when we go on the ketogenic diet and the culture wellness therapeutic ketogenic diet, yes, we do absolutely eliminate grains, including gluten. We eliminate dairy, but we keep in butter and ghee, and we eliminate nuts and seeds. And so we really focus on protein, we focus on great fibers, we focus on vegetables, fermented foods, and really great quality fats. And we do that for a period of time to heal the body, and then we move into food reintroduction. So it is a very therapeutic. Okay, so Kelly has written here in, I'm looking at my notes now, so bear with me. Kelly has written in her comments here earlier on today, her barrier for me are the biology of cravings for carbs, the ease of just grabbing one piece of gluten-free toast and toasting it, or how much I prefer to eat a bowl of rice with my homemade curries than cauliflower rice. And Kelly, that's absolutely a valid reason to think, can I do this? Now, this brings me to the conversation around our microbes within our body dictate what we want to eat. So it's very, very clear if we have microbes and we have a diversity of microbes and microbes within our gut that crave fiber or crave protein or crave good quality fats, then we are going to want to eat those foods. They send messages to the brain, I need those nourishing foods. But if we have dysbiosis within our gut, so if we've got overgrowths of bacteria in our gut and harmful bacteria for our bodies, they crave sugar, they crave carbohydrates, and they make you tired. They make you, not want to bother cooking. They make you I just want ease. Everything wants to be easy. And they want to keep you in the same cycle, in the same pattern of feeding them carbohydrates and sugar. So it is to be expected that people with gut dysbiosis want to eat bread and want to eat rice. We know that, we get that, we understand that, because that's what the bacteria in your gut is requesting. So there's a time where, when you're easing on into program and you're getting into ketosis, which, remember, supports the craving. It's the most powerful super tool. But there are times where there will be it's generally about 3 days. For some people it's longer. But there are times where, it will be a little bit tricky. But when you start to think about it as a bug war, rather than you being lazy, rather than you being crap and you can't stick to anything and you're useless and, oh, I'm going to fail anyway, and, oh, I'll just eat the toast and I'll start again tomorrow. I can't be bothered with this. And maybe I'm not so sick anymore, or maybe I'm just making it up. Maybe it's not that bad. All these ruminating thoughts, right, that happen in your head. So as that, as you're transitioning over to a therapeutic diet, these things will happen. But instead of thinking about all those bad things about you and being lazy and so forth, you can think about it as a bug war. And the best thing about thinking about it as a bug war is that when you know the bugs in your gut via a microbiome test, for example, when you start wanting toast, when you start wanting rice, when you start wanting sugars and chocolates, and when you start wanting all of these things, you can actually literally change the pathway in your mind. And you can say to yourself, there's that biophilia Wadsworthia again, craving the carbs and craving the sugar, causing me inflammation, causing me fatigue. And you can start to be empowered to go, no way am I going to feed you. No, you're the one causing me all the problems. I'm going to go over here and feed all of my bifido strains and all of my Akkermansia and my Fecali bacterium prudinetsky strains. I'm going to feed my good guys that give me energy, help me sleep, help me digest my food, support my hormones, and help me make serotonin to be happy. And so once you get an understanding of this, it's not about you not being able to succeed. It's about understanding what these bacteria are doing and how they're making you think, feel, and behave. So it's very empowering, very, very empowering. Okay. So let's go through these questions here. Is the keto diet suitable for children? It absolutely is. And we work with you depending on your child's, how their body is. So if they're undernourished at this point in time because they've got worms and they've got gut infections and they're not actually able to absorb the nutrients they're eating, then we need to make sure that the ketogenic diet that we're using for them has enough energy and has the appropriate nutrients and fibers and appropriate carbohydrates through vegetables and resistant starch to support them. But yes, once again, my son has been on a ketogenic diet the same amount of time as me. And so he started at around 4 and he's 14 now. And I work with many, 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 many children on a ketogenic diet. And it's very, very successful. But once again, you need to work with someone who's got a lot of experience in supporting kids to get on a ketogenic diet, to stay focused, to be happy, to get the right nutrients, make sure they don't lose weight, make sure that they're getting everything that they need. So it's just about learning. So, and that's the exciting thing. That's what we need to embrace, is that it's a cool thing to learn as opposed to being scary. Okay. Yes. So if you come from an amazing Indian culture of eating roti and naan bread, there will be some changes. But there's some cool recipes that I've developed, and also that Geordie's developed with that uses cassava flour and different types of flours that you can ferment to make those types of breads. So you can adjust and you can change. So Indian food is absolutely all grains and nuts and lentils and so forth. So, it will be a change, but we can support you through that. There's still a lot of the same spices, lots of the same flavors, but certainly the cooked and cooled rice, the resistant starch rice, comes in a little bit later, so you can get those tastes back again, that comforting taste, generational taste. Okay, so someone loves the bug war. That helped me so much. When I talked about the concept of bug war, it also helped my kids. I used to play little videos for them, and there's all these cool little videos of YouTube clips of little bad bugs and good bugs and fighting out with each other. And so there's lots of things that you can do. If we're doing the program for ourselves, how do we then feed the rest of the family? No change or some change? Megan, that's a great question, and that's something that I absolutely will work with you on. So first of all, you make an awesome curry, with all these great spices and flavors, or you make a spaghetti bolognese that the family feels comfortable with. But when they're having pasta or they're having rice, you will be having either cauliflower rice or nothing at all. And so there are heaps of recipes that can be adapted that are still family favorites, but you would sit down and just not have the pasta or not have the rice, and we can accommodate. The classic family roast, where you have a beautiful roast lamb or roast chicken, and then you have your veggies. It's a wonderful place to start. Now, you wouldn't have the root vegetables like the sweet potatoes or the potatoes, but you're still sharing the same meal. You're still sharing that beautiful, family time, but you might have some sauerkraut on your plate and some broccoli and some cauliflower, some asparagus, and they might have more of the traditional vegetables. So lots and lots and lots of ways to work around that. And there's also really, really yummy recipes. I mean, when you join the Culture Wellness program, you get over like 150 different types of recipes. We've got a whole recipe portal. So you can adapt and you can play around with it. And obviously the cooking classes I started those just to allay people's fears, because it's huge to make changes to your family. Yes. Okay. So lots of people love nuts and seeds. I know, they're so easy. Nuts and seeds are highly inflammatory. They're very hard to digest. And if you've got gut imbalances, or if you've got an inflammatory response in your body, they're not going to serve you. So there are other snacks that we have on program. There are other snacks that you can have that you will end up just loving just as much. But yes, nuts and seeds are very, very inflammatory. Okay, so let me keep up with everyone. Yes, lots of Thermomix recipes, Cassandra, so you don't have to worry about that. And a lot of them are just so super easy. So we do have Thermomix options for most of them, but maybe not all of them, but most of them we do. Okay, Nicolina, I can see that you're on the call tonight and you have a question here that, yes, there's a fear of failure and it's a big one. I know so little and feel pressure to get acting because this is about my son. Oh, go you. I feel that. Making life better for him. He's already been suffering for so long, but I remind myself small steps and being persistent can take about a great change, and 6 months of learning is nothing when we've spent 8 years searching. I couldn't agree more with you. You don't want to stay in the same space. You want to move forward. So, I really love that comment. So thank you very much. Okay, so another question here is, I would love to know, this one's from Kelly. I would love to know what I need to do to support my liver and detox organs, as I really resonate with the reabsorbed estrogen and hormonal migraines and those angry, uptight emotions. This is what I was talking about last night in the number 3 live. With regards to taking digestive supplements, I always feel nauseous. Is this because my liver is overwhelmed? Yes, it is. And, thank you, Nicolina. And lastly, how do I find out more information on how to apply a nutritional ketogenic diet? So, Kelly, on the Culture Wellness program, we teach you all about the detox tools. So we teach you how to use our main detox tools, which are activated charcoal, bentonite clay, and also coffee enemas, which are totally life-changing when you've got liver function issues. The whole premise behind doing a coffee enema is to support your liver and to be able to detoxify your hormones. So we teach you all about how to detox and support your liver. We also prescribe herbs at Culture Wellness when you're on program, and they're therapeutic naturopathic herbs. And when we prescribe those herbs, we do have herbs that support the liver. For example, St. Mary's thistle. And so these herbs, whilst you're going through the program and doing cleanses, are very important to help your liver function and just give it that extra kick. So we teach you all about how to use those detoxification tools on program, but we also teach you about using bone broth for detox and using obviously water and all sorts of other detoxification methods. And the information for a therapeutic, nutritional, ketogenic diet, we have all of that on the Culture Wellness program. So we have the shopping lists, we have the example meal plans, we have sort of, the stick it up on the fridge to make sure that you're staying in line with learning about what to eat and what's going to support you. So everything there is on in the program. And that's the Kickstarter program. So we teach you all about detox tools and also about what to eat on the Kickstarter program. So on Wednesday night, I will take you for a drive through the Kickstarter program. I'll take you behind the scenes into the modules and I will show you what it looks like and some of those shopping lists and so forth. So join me for that if you want to find out more. Okay. So Amy had a great question. How does birth control pill, the Marina or HRT, depending on the phase of life, affect the gut microbiome? So, Amy, this is a great one that Gabby and I could do a whole live on. And if you haven't joined the Culture Wellness Community Facebook group yet, please head over and do so, because we often do lives in there about all sorts of topics. But this is a wonderful topic that we need to do a whole live on. But basically, yes, the answer very much is yes. It can completely change the landscape of your gut microbiome and change the landscape of your hormones and also your mental health. There's huge correlations now in research between women that have taken the pill and mental health, including depression and anxiety. And there's a lot of research around its impacts on the gut microbiome, hormone levels, detoxification of your hormones, fertility, the list goes on. And so, yes, you're right in asking that question, and it does impact it. But huge can of worms. And if you go onto the Culture Wellness website, or one of the girls might put it up now actually, on the main Culture Wellness website, there is an education drop down. And under that education drop down, we have some of our workshops that I've done in the past, like this one, we've popped it up there into a series that you can access at any time. And one of those series is actually about hormones and your gut. And I actually interview someone in that series from Microba, who we do our tests with, and we talk about your hormones and your gut microbiome. And we go into detail all about your estrobolome, and which is a subset of your microbiome that's so important for detoxification of your hormones. And we've got lots and lots of great information on the gut hormone connection. So hopefully we'll have a link up there soon if you wanted to join that. But it's a really cool little series that we've got up there for you to watch at any time. Okay. That's a double up on that question there. Oh, my printer's printed it out twice. Why have you done that? Okay, so another question that I get asked all the time is, what is die-off and what is a Herxheimer reaction? So we've got, who is it there? So I can't read the name, but someone has written there, what is a die-off or what is a Herxheimer reaction? And this is a really important question, because this is what people get really scared about doing a form of gut healing program. And even some of you have said it tonight, that you felt really good, you make these big changes, you feel awesome, and then you kind of like settle in and you get onto this, sort of, oh my gosh, I think I feel worse than I do before. Or I'm just so fatigued. I don't think this is working for me. And you can kind of go into a pattern of feeling worse before you get better. And this is certainly the case, and it's a documented phenomenon called a Herxheimer reaction or a die-off reaction. And it was named after someone called so-and-so Herxheimer, don't know his first name, and hence why it's called a Herxheimer reaction. And this is what turns people off and why people feel that they have failed, because they feel worse. And then when you feel worse, when you feel more tired, more fatigued, more cravings, when you're doing a program that doesn't have all of the aspects to healing all organized, then you just end up eating something that you shouldn't. You end up making poor choices. And then you're like, oh, well, that didn't work, did it? Because I just craved this food. I gave up and I was only on it for 2 weeks. And now look at me. Nothing's going to work. But what a lot of programs don't include is the detox tools and the understanding of this Herxheimer die-off reaction. So when you change your diet, when you change the food that you're nourishing your body with, and when you do any form of cleansing or any form of probiotic food, it is a huge change to your gut microbiome. So you've got this bug war going on that I was talking about before. It's a massive change. You've got pathogenic bugs, Clostridium difficile, for example, my arch nemesis. You might have, C. diff. And then if you start putting fermented foods in, or if you start adding in nourishing bone broth, or if you start adding in beautiful amounts of healing butter, because the butyrate in butter is so healing to the gut. If you start adding these things in, this Clostridium difficile is like a toddler and starts to fire up and get annoyed. And so this Clostridium difficile starts producing these toxic metabolites, and suddenly your liver has to process that out. And if you have a leaky gut, you'll remember me saying that you'll have a leaky brain. And so therefore those toxic metabolites go into your brain and they cause a stress response within your body. So your liver's down, so you're angry, and then you're hypervigilant because you're stressed because you're toxic. And when you're stressed and you're angry, we make poor choices. And so we'll go off and eat the pizza. We'll go off and have the bottle of wine. We'll go and have some ice cream and watch, Netflix till 1 o'clock in the morning, even though you had made the decision you were going to be a early bird riser and exercise in the morning and get out in the sunshine. And here you are on the couch eating ice cream, and it's 1 o'clock in the morning and you've got to work tomorrow. And it's not that you're a bad person. It's because all the way back, having those healing foods and being on program, they create metabolites and change, this die-off reaction. And if you haven't done programs in the past that teach you how to do detox tools to go in and bind to those toxins, to stop them from getting into your brain, to stop them from stimulating you to being in that high sort of response, to stop you from craving, all of those things that I was just saying, if you don't have those detox tools, an appropriate pathway to mop up all of those problems, then it's not going to work. There will be, you just will make poor choices because your body can't handle it. So, a healthy person, a person with an amazing gut microbiome of diversity, they can change their gut and not much happens. They might get a bit windy. They might get a bit gassy. They might have altered stools for a couple of days, but they then move on and their gut microbiome has got used to the new diet and their health and wellness hasn't changed. But when your gut is out of whack and you change your diet to nourish yourself and you change your diet to look after your gut microbiome, you will see changes. And so you will notice that you might be a little bit more tired. You'll crave more. You have a bit more brain fog. You will expect all these things to happen. So you haven't failed on program. It is working for you. It's not the wrong thing. It's just that we need to make sure that you've got the detox tools in place and that we're mopping up that toxicity. And so it's, understanding how to move, how to sleep, what's in your environment, learning about the detox tools and when to use them and how to use them and what your body needs, and learning about, far out, I've got a huge overgrowth of candida in my small intestine. Candida releases about 240 different types of endotoxins into the bloodstream every time it gets fed some sugar. And then once you know that, once you've seen that in your results, then you're like, oh, no wonder I have a huge high when I eat some sugar or I eat something with carbohydrates in it. And then no wonder I get so angry. And so when you're going through the process of making that change, you will ride those highs and lows too. So just another thing to remember, that expect change and expect that there's going to be that bug war there. But that's the way the program has been set up. Because you guys might remember my story from, I think it was last night I told the story about when I introduced fermented foods and I thought I was going to die and self-combust. And, then, I was talking to my husband, who is a nurse and works in emergency quite a lot. And I was like, I just feel so bad and my heart's racing and I feel so toxic and I just feel so terrible. And I was talking to him about it. And he was like, oh, well, if you were an emergency, we give people that have had overdoses, we give them charcoal, activated charcoal. And it was the first time I'd even ever heard of it. I'd never heard of charcoal before. And so off to Googled and had a look, and then read some research papers and, looked into what is activated charcoal and what does it do. And I couldn't believe that this tiny particle could absorb, double its own weight in toxins and then pull it out of the body. And then that was my next adventure on the journey. I need detox tools. I need tools to mop up this change that I'm making in my body. Okay, what are the best tools? What do we need to do? And so your progression on program is that you're taught all of these things that you need for success. So you're not trialing something new and then it just doesn't work. It just doesn't happen. Alrighty. So I think I've got through all of my questions tonight. The other questions about the ketogenic diet, the main one that I'm seeing coming up quite a lot with the ketogenic diet is when people had food intolerances and, or allergies. And so you can absolutely do a ketogenic diet. Here we go again. We've got someone jumping on into our live on YouTube that wants us to join a dating app. Oh, Nicole or Gabby, can you block them, please? Because I don't want to join a dating app, and it's very it's very distracting for me watching it pop up, but it's pretty funny. Oh well. If they've got a good gut microbiome, I might be interested. So, did you know that you attract people with the same microbiomes as you? Very cool research study. It's like that, like the pheromones that we give out and we attract certain people. Same thing. People, and we see it all the time, people that have, or families, when we do their gut testing, the partners or mums and dads or husband and wives, they often have the same gut microbiome, especially the same mouth microbiome. And we're very much attracted to the same biomes, whether they're beneficial ones or they're not so good ones. So it's very, very, very interesting that at a time when my gut was really bad, I met my husband and his gut was really bad too. So, but we've been able to work together and grow together and grow through that. And and stay together and still really adore each other. So which is a great outcome. But yes, you want to, if you're dating, you want to get your gut microbiome all stitched up so you're attracting someone that's got awesome, longevity and health and a great gut microbiome. Okay, so the dating app kind of distracted me. We're back talking about food intolerances and reactions to food. So if you have food allergies and food intolerances, they're absolutely catered for. And you can do a ketogenic diet and a therapeutic ketogenic diet in that space. So that's not a problem. We often see that when the gut microbiome has started to heal and you have that sort of intestinal permeability starts to reshape again and starts to become more robust, we do find that food intolerances are lessened or they're actually not an issue anymore. So food intolerances are certainly a product of a leaky gut, intestinal permeability, and those big protein molecules leaking into the bloodstream. And so if you work on your gut in a gut healing space, then you will be able to move through that and be able to embrace new foods through a food reintroduction because you've been able to break down that protein and it hasn't leaked into your bloodstream. So it's very, very cool. Alrighty, so that is all my questions for tonight. We've gone through the two big things that I wanted to discuss, which is those barriers and why do we keep ourselves in the same space even though we want to get out of there? So, really having a good chat about that and also answering your questions. So thanks everyone for joining me tonight. So don't forget to book a discovery call with me if you're not sure. If you want to work with us at Culture Wellness and you want to join a program, but you're not sure which program, feel free to book a discovery call. We can then unpack that with you. I had all sorts of cool discovery calls today. I had someone that really, I said, look, you've just got to do a microba and a consult, and we need to work from there. There was someone else that I had a discovery call with, and it's like, okay, well, let's get you on Kickstarter with a microba, and then we're going to upgrade you once we get those test results. And then I had a beautiful dear lady who came on and had a discovery call with me, and I was like, wow, you've got a big, history and you need some care. And she's going to start working with me one-on-one in the tailored Culture Wellness program. So make sure you book in and make sure that you have a chat. And also, as I've said before, my books are open for a short amount of time for 10 clients. So if you're considering that, I really encourage you to book your space now because you don't want to miss out, because then I don't open my books for another time because there's only one of me. So make sure that you get all that sorted out and you sign up. And then on Wednesday night, Gabby and I are going to go through the nuts and bolts of the program. So another adventure of learning about all the cool stuff we've created at Culture Wellness that we're very proud of. Right, guys. I didn't go too overtime tonight, so I'm very proud of myself. All right. Oh, Nicolina, you're booked for a discovery call. Yay. I'll see ya. I'll catch you in the one-on-one where we can have a chat. All right, everyone. Have a lovely evening. See ya.